Okay, so it's about 5:15 in the morning. I am just about to make my way to go meet Mike over near the start line. This is far too early for a race, even though I've been asleep since about 8 o'clock last night. It's not very nice getting this early for a race. I don't think I've ever done it before, apart from New York Marathon. I did not enjoy that at all. Gotta say, I'm feeling pretty nervous. Don't feel this nervous before a race. Not feeling 100%. I think I'm still getting a bit of a jet lag vibe, feeling a little bit bunged up. And yeah, I'm sort of in a lot of fear about this race really, because I'm planning to get a pretty fast time. I'd like a sub-3. At the very least, I'd like about 3:05 so I can get a Boston qualifier. So it's not going to be fun. It's going to be hard. It's going to be the hardest race I've probably ever ran. So yeah, I'm going to head to see Mike now and see if he's feeling the same. But I'll report back after the race. See you in a bit.
Good morning everyone. It is Saturday morning? Yeah, Saturday morning, early. Early. Yeah. It's cold. We are here for the 5K, which is going to definitely be a shakeout run for me and Tom before the big one tomorrow. How are you feeling at the moment, Tom, about things before the big one?
I'm feeling quite nervous about tomorrow, but it's actually quite nice to come down and do this today, because it's like we're just going to jog it really.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to. It goes through some nice central areas, so it's going to be nice to sort of warm up and have a look around there. Basically, we'll be done by 8 o'clock, so then we can go and get a nice breakfast. But yeah, it's nice to scope out the area, and quite looking forward to testing out these Saucony Pro 3s, my new ones.
Yeah, a lot of big blue bobble hats out there, not for us, but you're going to be giving your Pro 3s a little run out. I'm just going to be in my Triumphs. I will be in the Pro 3s tomorrow, but as we said, nice and easy today. Get the legs moving, get ready for the big one tomorrow.
Yes, so we'll report back in a bit when we finish the 5K, and get you some pancakes. See you in a bit.
See ya. Okay, Tom, 5K is in the bag. A little shakeout run.
Yep.
Show us your medal.
There it is.
There it is. There's the medal. How do you find it? Legs feeling good?
Well, it was 26 minute 5K. No, it was very nice, very enjoyable to see a bit of the course. I think it's the course. It's the course we're doing tomorrow. It's a very nice way to kick off the marathon weekend.
Yeah, a lot of people turning up for this 5K. I assume everyone else is kind of using it for shakeout run as well. Legs feel good. That's the most important thing. Now it's time to kind of, I guess, fuel up for the day.
Well, I'll tell you what, running at that pace, that was 5 minute 20 kilometre pace basically. I don't know how I'm going to go faster than that tomorrow, because that felt quite strenuous for 5K.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to ease into it and see how I feel tomorrow. Although, Tom, if you're going for your sub-3, then you're going to be going a fair bit quicker from the start.
I'm regretting I said that.
But yeah, so that's the Chicago 5K done in the bag.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna kind of rest up, see some of the sights, and get rested up for tomorrow. So yeah, we'll see you for tomorrow.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Hey, so we couldn't come to Chicago without obviously seeing the man from Chicago who knows everything about running. He tests every shoe like we do. Kofuzi, thanks for being on the video. Basically, I just want to find out for the viewers a bit more about the Chicago Marathon, and for me to get some tips, and for Mike, because Mike's somewhere around here enjoying himself, having a meal somewhere. Just some tips on what we can expect for Chicago, really. I suppose first one is, and this is my biggest worry tomorrow, what is it like getting to the start of the race? How do I have to prepare for that?
Well, like getting, like you've seen it already, just trying to get here, like during the weekend, like everything gets very congested very easily. So like the earlier you can do anything, the better. If you come here very early, like right when it opens at 5:30 in the morning, like your Uber will be able to get in and out really easily. If you try to do that like an hour later, your Uber's probably going to end up dropping you off like half a mile away and you're going to jog in. And so like, if you could take the train or depending on where you are, or if you can walk, a lot of times, even if you think it's like a little bit too far to walk, that might end up being like the fastest and least stressful way to get here. So like there will be kind of like a lot of people, but the earlier you get here, the better. And like, just try not to get like way too close. Don't get too cute about it. Like close enough is good enough.
Okay, and I think I read somewhere that the starting pens open at like 5:30 in the morning, and the race obviously starts at 7:30. How quickly do I have to get to those starting pens? Should I be there at 5:30? Should I be there a bit later?
No, like getting here at like 5:30 is for like getting to the security line, because they're going to check your gear check bag if you have one.
Yeah.
And then you're going to walk from there. It's going to be quite a long walk to get over to where the gear check is. That's where like the most bathrooms are. So I would kind of hang out there.
Yep.
And then don't head over to the corrals until you're ready to be in the corrals. Now the thing to know is that the corrals technically close 10 minutes before race start. So if you're in wave 1, I think that's like A through H or something like that, then the last moment you could be in there is 7:20. But the corrals will fill up in terms of like people before 7:20. So like I would plan to get there by like 7:10, 7:15. So that way you're in there and you're just gonna have to like, keep warm, try to find a way to stay a little bit loose. But also it's gonna be a little chilly in the morning. So being around a whole bunch of people will probably be nice for some body heat.
Nice, okay. And then, so I'm gonna be in the first pen or corral. How close to the front do I need to be if I'm going for a fast time? Is it likely that there's gonna be like a funnel where it's quite slow at the start?
No, it's really wide open. So like there's plenty of room to get moving if you're in Corral A. So like Corral A is usually people that are from like 3:05 and under. So like everyone in there is pretty fast. I've never been in Corral A before because I haven't had a time below that until just recently. And so I've been in Corral B as close to the front as I've ever been. Corral A is usually full of a lot of very fast people that know how to get through that starting chute. It doesn't funnel in too much. There is a little bit of that, but not too much. So you should have plenty of room to get moving.
Okay, that's good, because in the UK we have a lot of marathons where that's not the case.
Yeah.
It can be very, very thin.
The thing that I'll caution you on though is that could be to your peril, because like a lot of people go out way hot and it's slightly uphill for like the first like quarter mile or so, just like a little bit of an overpass that you're going to go
That's
through.
just down there, isn't it? I saw that yesterday.
Yeah. So you can actually, on the other side of that like silver thing over there, that's an overpass that you can go through and you get kind of a preview. But so like a lot of people hit it way too hard when they come out of the gate because it's super exciting. So that's something I would be like, you still got like 26.1 miles left. Just kind of settle in, don't worry about it too much, and just kind of like find a group of runners to stay with and just kind of stick with them.
Amazing. Okay, and then let's just talk toilets. What are the toilets like? Is there going to be massive queues, or are there a lot of toilets there? There
are a lot, but the ones that are closer to the corrals, that's where everyone wants to like be close to the corrals and bathrooms at the same time. And there just isn't that much space over there as there is over by the gear check area. And so you want to stay over by there. That's where there's more like bathrooms per person kind of ratio. And so that's where I'm going to stay until I'm basically ready to be in the corral.
Excellent. Okay then. Right, the race itself. Is there anything? Is there lots of water on the course?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of aid stations, so you'll have like lots of room to be able to get what you need. They're very long, so you don't have to worry about like grabbing that first person coming through in terms of Gatorade or water. Gatorade first, then water afterwards. It's long enough that if it's a hot day, it shouldn't be, but if it's a hot day, you can grab Gatorade and then grab water to dump on yourself if you're trying to stay cool. So that's how much space you have. But just remember, like the later it is in the race, the messier it'll get in those areas, even though the volunteers work really hard. So it'll be wet, it could be slippery, so just watch your step.
Okay, cool. And people talk about Chicago being a very flat marathon. Is that true?
It is. So like There are some hills, like I mentioned, like the start is an incline grade. I don't think it's quite even 1%, but you do feel it. And so there are a handful of spots where you feel it. Most of those things are bridges or overpasses. There's some there, but for people that need like a rolling course, like I need a rolling course to really do well in a marathon. As much as I hate hills, I kind of need them. So sometimes for me, Chicago is a little too flat.
Okay, well, that's I wasn't expecting it to be too flat. I'll take that. Okay, cool. And then after the race, is it a nice, smooth way to get out of the race, or did you have to queue up quite a bit after the finish line?
No, there is a little bit of walking, but it's, and especially where you'll probably be finishing, there'll be plenty of room to kind of like take your time and get through. Now, they have so many runners coming through that they're not really going to let you hang out at the finish and wait for your friends. But you can kind of slowly start sauntering through. As you go through, you'll get your space blanket, you'll get your medal. There'll be beers there that you can grab along the way. I highly recommend taking advantage of that if that's something that you're into. And there'll be snacks as well, and water, all before you even like leave kind of like the finishers area. Places to take photos. So there's plenty of room because it's several blocks long. So it is a bit of a walk, but it also spreads out all the things that you're going to want to do right after a race. So it's all right there.
Cool. Okay, and any top tips for people running it for the first time that I've not thought about?
Yeah, so there's a section that's really tempting to overdo it. So after about the half marathon mark, you'll go up north, come back downtown again. That's about the halfway point. After that, miles 14 through 18, you go west and come back. There's another kind of like loop that you come back. People tend to feel really good at the half and intentionally or unintentionally start moving a little bit too quickly in those next 4 or 5 miles, and they pretty much pay for it right away. So you can see a lot of people, most people talk about the wall at 20. The wall in Chicago is usually like mile 18 or 19 because people do that one section a little bit too fast. So be really disciplined with your race plan, especially if you're feeling good in those middle miles, because like basically every year that I've had a bad Chicago, I've done exactly that. I got too excited in those middle miles.
Good to know. That sounds about the time I normally get excited as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then any sort of top tips for where to go? Give us your favorite place to go to eat or drink after Chicago Marathon.
So after the Chicago Marathon, there's a ton of really great neighborhoods in Chicago. They talk about it all the time. There's 29 Chicago neighborhoods. Each of those neighborhoods has its own vibrancy, and they all celebrate the marathon. The city really gets excited for this race. But the things that I really like to do is to make sure I'm still connected with my friends that are coming in from all over the place. And so I really look to some of the after parties that are happening around town, not only just in the race, post-race area, but also that maybe some brands or some of the local running stores are putting on as a way to reconnect with everyone and kind of start collecting all those stories from the course.
Excellent. And deep pan pizza probably, is that good for after a marathon, do you find? Does that do the job?
Yeah, I'm normally like a French fries kind of guy after a marathon, but if you're in Chicago, especially if you haven't been here before, I think that it's pretty much a must-do to make sure you get a taste of that before you leave town.
Big time. Okay then, and then lastly, you're not racing tomorrow. You're sort of enjoying the marathon for this year.
Yeah, a little bit more of a fun run for me.
So what are you going to be wearing? What shoes are you wearing to run it in?
I'm going to try the Endorphin Pro 3.
Nice. Yeah.
It's a shoe that I think is finally a marathon shoe, but I got to test it.
That was the first time you've used it in a marathon?
Yeah, so like the Endorphin Pro 2 and the Endorphin Pro Run, I did a lot of marathon length workouts, a lot of long runs, but I never really felt like I wanted to race in it. So I raced half marathons, fantastic. The marathons, I just wasn't sure. I just felt like it'd be a little bit too firm for my feet. They've softened it up just enough, I think, this year that I think I can do it. So I'll give it a shot on Sunday.
That's what me and Mike are using.
Awesome, very cool.
I've done every distance, a PB'd in every distance now, apart from 10K in the Pro 3s.
Okay.
So hopefully I'm going to do the same.
Awesome.
This year, or this marathon. Well, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for helping us out. We'll add some links into the captions below. So Kofuzi's got loads of videos on Chicago Marathon, top tips if you're coming over for the first time. So head down into the captions below and you'll be able to go through all of those videos. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck tomorrow.
Good luck to you too.
See you later, man.
Morning, it is just before 5 a.m. I've tucked away my porridge, ready to throw my kit on for the Chicago Marathon. I thought I'd quickly run through what I'm going to be using. I'll start with the shoes, and I'm going to be going with the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. Now, aside from staining pretty much every single pair of white socks I've worn with them, I've absolutely loved running in these shoes. I feel like it's going to work really nicely for me on this course. It's a nice shoe to run quick in. It was a toss-up between this and the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus, but just because the level of training I've done, I know I'm probably going to have to ease off a little bit, and I know that in the Pro 3, when I've kind of done my training runs, I found it feels a little bit more stable to do that, so I've gone with the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 over the Metaspeed Sky Plus for this race. Working up to the socks, I am wearing some white Saucony Kahu kind of collab socks, which are going to get stained by the end of the race. I'm going to be wearing the Runderwear boxer shorts. I'm not sure if I'm going to go for the short or the longer. I might go for the longer ones just because it's a bit chilly at the moment, or it's an early start, 7:30 a.m. start. I'm wearing my Saucony combat shorts, which I've worn and raced for in years. Just feel really nice and light to wear. Very unobstructive in terms of when I run and racing. So those are kind of tried and tested. I'm going to be swapping up in terms of belt. So instead of a flip belt, which I normally race in, I'm going to be using the Decathlon marathon belt that I've been using in training, just because it fits. I feel like it fits my gels, potentially a soft flask if I want to take one, and it doesn't really move about, and it's just feeling really comfortable to wear generally in my runs. In terms of the gels, I've switched over as well from my usual kind of high five kind of caffeine gels, which have served me really, really well over the years, to the precision hydration gels, which I've used in training first and foremost to make sure they work well. They feel a bit nicer on my stomach overall. I'm going to switch between caffeine and non-caffeine versions as well. So I've got those to kind of fuel me during the run in terms of, in between kind of grabbing water from the stations. In terms of the top, I'm going to be wearing our Run Testers vest, which is made by Saw. I love the Saw stuff in general. I have raced in them and bought my own stuff, and they just feel nice and light. It doesn't chafe when I run in them, and the material just feels very comfortable and soft, when I'm running with. So that's kind of a no-brainer for me in terms of the top. Watch wise, I'm going to be using the Garmin Epix Gen 2, and I'm going to be testing it against the Apple Watch Ultra, mainly on the GPS accuracy. Chicago has a lot of tall buildings, so this is a good test to see how well that accuracy modes work on both those watches. I did the 5K yesterday, and it was definitely spotty on both watches. Maybe a little bit more reliable on the Apple Watch Ultra, but still not perfect. So I've got those watches to test. I've got my lucky Fitbit sweatband, which I've worn on most of my PB races, so that always stays on. In terms of other things, I've actually switched up last minute on the headphones. I've gone for the AirPods Pro 2 instead of the Jabra 7 Elite Active, which I normally race in, just because I'm just thinking about the connectivity side of things. And I think the AirPods Pro 2 just work very nicely for me in the runs that I have done with them. So I'm going to go with those. And then last thing really, just a bunch of throwaway clothes. It's very early start. It was cold yesterday at the 5K, so I decided to go multiple layers in terms of that throwaway clothes. Quite nice thing in the expo that they do sell the throwaway clothes, but I would suggest bringing your own. What you can take. I'm going to take gloves as well and throw those away. So yeah, that's the kit I'm going to be racing with. Hopefully get me through a nice good time, keep me warm, get me running quick, and yeah, I'm ready to get changed, put them on, and walk and get to the start of the Chicago Marathon. We are done. Tom, Chicago Marathon. How was it? How did you get on?
Easy, mate. Easy, not a problem at all. I think I got 2:55, but I've not got my phone, so I can't check it.
Not bad at all. How did you find it in overall? Apart from absolutely smashing it.
It was fantastic. It was so wide, the roads. So no problem getting past anyone at any point. But also, the weather was just perfect.
Yeah.
I was worried about the wind. The wind was actually just a lovely breeze that made it easier. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. We got very lucky with it.
Oh yeah, I definitely say that. I did 3:35, which wasn't what I was going for, but I was pretty happy with that, considering the kind of disruption to my training, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's a nice course. I felt really, really good. First kind of 10, 15k, I basically blew up where my calves just were not feeling at about 21 miles, so it was kind of damage limitation at that point. But I absolutely loved the race. The support was incredible. I mean, probably the best signage I've seen at a marathon, I would say, in terms of what I've done.
Chicago people are lovely.
Yeah, and the medal's not too bad either. Yeah, there you go. In terms of the kit, I mean the shoes. I mean until I blew up, I mean I absolutely love running in the Endorphin Pro. I think once you get going in that shoe, it feels great. And my tactic was, if I had to slow down, it was the shoe that I think would work for me, and it did when I had to kind of ease back. We can't do nothing about Chicago trains.
Cut that bit out.
Tom, how did you find the Pro 3s at marathon distance?
They're fantastic. They're just. I think the thing about if I ran that in the Vaporflies, I would be able to feel the bounce of them. I would be able to feel it. It'd be very obvious. But these are just so natural. I don't think about them when I'm running.
Yeah.
They're just fine. But they're definitely doing what they need to do without.
It just doesn't feel aggressive in the way that
it doesn't feel
it's
aggressive,
doing it.
and I think it just feels nicer. You just don't think about it. You just fall in. I fell into a lovely pace and just didn't notice the shoes at all, which I think is what you need for a marathon.
In terms of other stuff, how did you get on? You had your Shocks Open Run Mini.
So I'm using the Open Run Shocks Mini.
Yeah.
I did enjoy them for a bit, but I tethered them to the Garmin, so I'm not running with my phone today, which is always a bit of a risk, I find. And it was fine up until 20 miles. Yeah. And then they just went off. And I couldn't use my Garmin to go back to sort of reset it up. I don't know why that is. I definitely had I did like a 5-hour playlist on it. Yeah. So I don't know why that was, but I couldn't do 20 miles. And also, the thing about the Open Run Minis is there they are. Yeah. They fit me fine. I have quite a big head. Yeah. So I think for anyone who's looking to buy the Open Run, probably should buy the minis because it just shaves a little bit of.
It's the same features, right? With a smaller design.
It's just the band at the back's smaller.
Yeah.
I know Nick prefers it because Nick's got a little pea head. So he prefers it, but I've got quite a big head, and I still prefer these to the Open Run. So yeah, well worth the look. I'm assuming that's why they released the mini because everyone was saying it's too big.
Yeah, I mean, I had the AirPods Pro 2, and actually they were absolutely fine. They didn't actually last for me. I mean, I was using them a little bit on the way into to the start, but I was expecting them to last the distance. They didn't actually. I think they kind of ran out probably a mile or two before the end. I think the biggest thing for me, I was testing the Garmin Epix 2 against the Apple Watch Ultra. Now, in my Apple briefing for the Ultra, they said that the Chicago Marathon, they specifically mentioned the Chicago Marathon, and in terms of GPS performance, it would be very, very good. Now, in terms of the Garmin Epix 2, it was definitely out. I mean, we did the 5K yesterday, and it was spotty in terms of the GPS yesterday. Yeah. It was the same again. The Apple Ultra wasn't perfect, but it was definitely much closer in terms of the course and the markers. So I would say the Ultra did pretty good. It wasn't spotless, but it definitely did better for me against the Garmin Epix 2, which I wasn't expecting to be honest, because I've had a really good experience with the Epix 2, but in terms of the kind of big tall beer in Chicago, it didn't quite cut it. So that was the kind of main thing I was testing. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Chicago. I mean, I'm looking forward to eating some pizza now.
We're going out to later on tonight to have a massive deep pan pizza. Before I just remembered the 955 going forward 955. I had some major issues with this. Around the first 7k. Could not get a pace. It was saying I was at 3-minute kilometres and 5:30-minute kilometres. Sort of got better as it went along, but major issues to start. But other thing as well, big shout out to Saw. because I'm wearing full Saucony today, and it was fantastic. I always say we've got to run test the sore tops.
Yeah. No chafing. That's the thing. That's the thing I like about it. No chafing. And
I didn't pass up either.
Teal for the win always for me anyway. So so there you go. That is our kind of rundown of Chicago Marathon. I think you can say we're pretty happy with those results and the experience. Now it's time for us to relax, try and see if we can still sit down and beer. I might even drink a beer. So
fine. Well, I've not been drinking for about a month. So right, let's get stuck in.
Cheers.
See you guys later.
See ya. Bye.